Woman?
Who's the woman? She was the good lady to Parry. I take it she was partner, and is Parry a surname? I get J, and I get Parry.
This land has witnessed many battles, but for all of its bitter and bloody backdrop, it also has a story that still lives on, 6 centuries after murderous revenge separated the owners of Tretower Court and Castle.
I don't know what it is, but I just don't like it.
At over 900 years old, Tretower Castle now lies as a crumbled shadow of its former self, whilst Tretower Court, its neighbouring manor house, is our base for this most haunted investigation. It was built in the 1450s by Roger Vaughan, a name that Derek has linked to the heightened paranormal activity that is regularly witnessed along the building's first floor, which is where we pick up the story.
I come in here into this atmosphere with us all, and I get this feeling of, at times, people, a mixture, males maybe and females. It's like people being, not marched, but, you know, pushed along this passageway against their will, or they're rejecting it, and there's anger, and there's like screaming and shouting, and it's like, you know, it's like when people are pleading for themselves. I don't feel they're fearing death, but it's like as if they're fearing what's going to happen up here. And I get discussions and talking in this room, like at times, and not so much whispering, but voices talking. I also, since coming up to this floor, I feel as if I've got this authority about me, this feeling as if I can mete out justice, and I'm in a position to do this. The only way I can say it is like waiting for the court to begin.
So the court would have been in this particular room?
No. This, in association, as we go from here. But I feel there's got to have been some kind of spiritual activity that's taken place in here.
Yeah, because you're saying you're hearing voices and justice in this room.
Yes. I feel, well, it filters right the way through here because it's the passageway, and from that doorway, even from coming up those steps, it all starts there. Right. But I feel there's a big build-up to it on this level.
In the near and distant past, manor houses were often used to conduct legal judgments against local perpetrators, and Tretower is no exception. However, this floor is known to have only been used for living and sleeping purposes. Despite this, Derek is drawn further along the balcony to where Roger remains prevalent.
So this would have been the courtroom that you're talking about?
I feel this is the energy, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know judgment and things went on.
And when would this court have taken place? What time period would it have been in this place?
Late 1600s, going in maybe the 1700s and something.
So was Roger almost like kind of in charge of the court? Was that his connection, do you feel?
If they've given me this name, I feel he must have a very strong influence.
Why do you think he's so angry then?
You know, I just get the feeling he's not happy. It's not the way it should be.
Right.
So he's walking around frustrated. When he comes into the atmosphere, he's, oh, you know.
Right.
You see, now, whilst we've been here and we're talking and I'm trying to link in, right at that back here, you see where that petition is?
Yeah.
It's like as if the judge and the table and everything was all up there.
Right.
And there was all these people sitting in the court. And the person's brought in through this door and brought in front of the court here. I feel there was a certain cruelty making them wait for this, passing this judgment on them. And then suddenly I feel as if I'm getting held by the arms and just virtually dragged out through this door and marched up this passageway. And it seems to be one after another, here, boom, and then dragged out manually out into that passageway and them screaming and shouting. So I feel feel that at times the sounds in here and along this passageway would be heard very strongly.
It sounds to me like, would something awful have happened to them? So, because, for instance, if you're coming up here to be tried and then you're being dragged off screaming, you must think that you're going to your death or something awful is going to happen to them.
This is something I've been, asking mentally. What happened in this room here, the fear factor of being held downstairs and then being brought up those stairs and then into this room, these people were petrified being dragged along that passageway.
Although the legal proceedings that took place at Tretower were actually performed downstairs, Derek's belief in Roger Vaughan's prevalence here may relate to the Englishman having built much of the brick building that remains today. So far, though, little had been heard of the White Lady that allegedly haunts this hollow shell. So what would David Wells feel from the room that is so often associated with her apparition?
There is a female spirit up here. Age-wise, she seems late 20s, early 30s. Very pretty woman. The name I have is very strong. The name is very quick as well. Either Marion or Marianne. So it's Marion or Marianne. Mm-hmm. She's presenting in white to me. Now, it's my job to figure out what those clues mean. White often is virginal. There's a purity aspect to it. Or it could be some religious thing, which I don't think it is. Or it may be the way in which people see her. Obviously, they may see a white lady. She's actually, just what you're doing with your hands, not quite linking them, but she's doing this. Mm-hmm. She's wringing them like that. And that, again, because they're showing me the hands, could be a sign of anxiety. Okay. I'm just trying to ascertain from her as well as that is if she's alone.
Why did she die? How did she pass?
She seems to have died of consumption, like a lung disease or heart disease, which I guess lots of people die of heart diseases. But she seems to have gone through a lot of her life for this sort of. She seems very lonely, and yet the house feels busy.
Visitors have previously reported 2 ghostly ladies who are dressed in white. One looks peaceful, whilst the other is usually seen anxiously pacing this area. But are these 2 images actually the same person? A second bedroom awaited, another area said to house this tranquil but troubled female.
But there is a sense of a female again in this room, and I think it is the same woman, because I'm just wondering if that was like a marital bed, and this was her room, or vice versa. Do you know what I mean? There might have been, because it feels like the same person, so there might have been her room, his
2
room,
areas.
and then, the husband's room, who's just completely, it's like he's not here. Do you know what I mean? It's odd that she's so strong, and yet she's so isolated, and I can't get my head around that. I don't sense any problems with the marriage, ghostly marriage or counsellor that I am.
So why do you think she chooses to come here then, David?
I don't know. This is why I think we'll find out when we follow her, because she was. They do that. They move away, and very often that's a sign of follow me. Come with me.
Do you reckon this is
Anxious.
towards the end of her death? Towards the end of her life, sorry.
Towards, yeah, it's not in her youth. No, towards the end of her life. She would have gone on beyond it, but it seems to me, why is she doing this? Because if she went on, she may have come to some kind of conclusion and found peace, and then gone across. Should have gone across. Because she's not visiting, it's not visitation, so she doesn't go away and come back. She's here, and she's stuck, if you like.